So, speaking of machines completely devoid of any emotion and empathy whatsoever, let's talk about Brie Larson's Captain Marvel.
Wow, I knew you were gonna, that was a perfect segue. I knew you were gonna, get it there as soon as you mentioned machines devoid of any sort of meaning. Yeah.
We have a telepathic link.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Kevin Feige recently did a small, questionnaire or interview type thing where he made a few suspect statements. He said, Captain Marvel is one of the most popular characters in the comics right now, which I would strongly debate that is false, but I didn't verify it, so I really won't say much about it. Mm-hmm. And he also said that she is the most powerful Marvel character. Now, I assume he means the movies, but I know, since he's been familiar with Marvel so long, that he knows that is an absolute false statement if he's talking about the comics. And it's even a dumb statement to say in the movies, period, because there are other characters in the movies who should be more powerful than her.
Okay, so few things to break down here. First of all, I don't think there's too much of a story here, and I think I think that will become abundantly clear in a minute. So first of all, at least from what I can tell about her skill set, and we did do a segment on this a few weeks back, if anyone wants to check out this shameless plug. But is she the most powerful? Probably not, mainly because there's so many other characters that are at that level, just based on what we've seen in the comics, based on what we've heard, just from hearsay. She's no more powerful than any other powerful hero. That's not to say she's weak by any means, but just to say she's the most powerful is a little ridiculous. To say she's the most popular is absolutely absurd. I think she's a relatively new character. She hasn't really sold all too well in the past. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just given the initial reviews, which again we'll cover in a sec, it's not great so far. So why is Kevin Feige saying this? And I think that's pretty clear. It's because he's trying to sell this movie that fans really don't want to see.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
He's basically relieving all the tension from even seeing Avengers Endgame by saying that, because we know she's in it, and by him saying, oh, she's the most powerful character we've seen on screen, he's basically saying, oh, yeah, she's gonna win. That's it. She's gonna do it. Why would you do that? You're ruining the interest in your own movie. And we should say this conveniently, I don't know if it was released right after, but it did seem to come out after the whole Rotten Tomatoes debacle where the want-to-see rating was going way down. Yeah, maybe because of a coordinated effort, we can't verify that.
Yeah, so I do have a few things to say about this. First of all, it's pretty clear that was a response on Rotten Tomatoes' end, to this directly.
Yeah, they took away the ability to even rate the want-to-see thing, so that's gone.
Yeah, no, the timing on that seems too perfect for it just to be a coincidence. And
Disney paid them. Disney paid them.
Maybe that's just my irrational need to sort of make connections between things, but it just seems like too much of a coincidence for them just to have removed it. I know Disney has some sort of stake in Rotten Tomatoes. I know they have some sort of control over what goes on site, so it's too many pieces there for it not to be connected. So the want to see rating was down to 28%, which is, I've never seen it that low on Rotten Tomatoes. Not to say I'm the kind of person who stocks Rotten Tomatoes for these sort of things, but I've seen unpopular movies hit 90 at lowest. That's it's absurd how much of a drop there is here,
Yeah.
Fans do not want to see this movie. The marketing has not helped. And, we have a week until the thing comes out. I guess, we'll see at that point. But it's amazing. This might be Marvel's first bomb, honestly. I'm actually, kind of anxious to see what happens with the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, part of it is being marketed, as we've said, as a bit of a feminist type thing. And, if it doesn't do good, that just shows we still need more feminism. People aren't ready for women to be strong.
Yeah, so I mean, we made the connection last week about how it's sort of hypocritical to compare it to Alita Battle Angel. Clearly people are ready for female protagonists. Clearly having a woman in that role is not intimidating for anyone. And this just reminds me so much of the whole Wonder Woman thing. DC handled that so much better. Even if you weren't a huge fan of the movie, even if you thought it was too light, you got to admit, despite the fact that she is seen as being more of a feminist hero, they didn't milk the hell out of that. They just let the character be her,
Yeah. She was who she was. She wasn't She wasn't representing her entire sex. She was just representing herself.
And yet, like, no one was calling fans sexist for that. No one was criticizing Wonder Woman for being, like, a female-led superhero movie, you know?
Yeah, although they did allude to it in subtle ways, like, you know, they hired a female director specifically, and they talked about it a little bit, like, you know, directing it from a female perspective. But, I mean, that's within the realm of understandability.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, like, not an unreasonable thing to suggest either, you know? Like, it's not unreasonable to suggest that a woman might understand how a woman thinks better than a man, you know?
You know, I would go as to say that that's true, because I really don't understand how women think sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we're two guys hosting a podcast on nerd culture, so...
I mean, do you need any more evidence than that?
Precisely.
I will say this. Let's set the record straight very quick. So I went on the official Marvel Wiki to compare different characters' power levels to Captain Marvel in the canonical 616 universe. Now, we're getting into some deep shit right here. So each character has a power rating based in 6 categories, which are intelligence, strength, speed, durability, energy projection, and fighting ability. So what exactly I compared were the different levels of all of these different ratings between the characters, and I would consider a character more powerful than Captain Marvel if they had a higher amount of these specific categories that were higher ranked. So it was either like mostly equal with a few higher, or all of them higher.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a quick short list here. Number 1, we have the Hulk, who's obviously a lot stronger and a lot more durable. We have Silver Surfer, who's, I would say, more durable, and he has like infinite energy projection.
Mm-hmm.
Every kind of Thor. That includes Odinson, Beta Ray Bill, Eric Masterson, and Jane Foster. Yes, even Jane Foster, according to this wiki, has higher, ability levels than Captain Marvel.
Which stands to reason. I mean, if they're all wielding Mjolnir, they should theoretically all have the power of Thor, so,
Going more cosmic, we have Nova, who, as you know, there's the Nova Corps in Guardians of the Galaxy, and Nova is the, I guess, Earth representative. We have Captain Marvel's son, Genis Vell, who is like a genetically engineered son, and he has these things called the Negabands, which give him an added power boost. This Captain Marvel, the female one, does not have those, so this one is more powerful. Iron Man, strangely enough, is also listed, I assume with his more advanced tech armors. He is, I guess he has more power somehow. We have the Sentry, who, I don't really know too much about him. He's kind of like Superman and Thor crossed.
Yeah, no, essentially he was made to be like the Marvel version of Superman, but just never really gained the same sort of popularity.
Right.
Yeah.
We have Hyperion, who actually is the Marvel version of Superman. Like, if you read about his origin, it's total ripoff. He's even in love with some woman whose initials are LL.
Yeah.
And he grew up on a farm.
Gotcha.
And funny thing, instead of a reporter, he's a comic book artist.
Coincidental.
So then we also have Adam Warlock, who we've mentioned in the past was the Thanos killer.
Yeah.
Or neutralizer. We have Phoenix, who's getting her own movie.
Which we'll talk about in a minute.
The Phoenix Force. Yes. We have Rogue, obviously, depending on whose power she absorbs, who, incidentally, she absorbed Miss Marvel's power way back, and that's when she became cool.
I feel like she shouldn't even be on this list, honestly, just because her powers would vary so, depending on who she actually, touches.
Maybe, but it adds a little salt in the wound.
Yeah, fair enough.
And finally, Thanos, who's not a hero, but he is stronger, according to this wiki.
So where does she...
Kevin Feige, what are you telling us?
Yeah. So she's not even the strongest character currently in the MCU. That's ridiculous, Well,
I guess they're making her out to be in this version of the universe, which is Earth 99999 or something.